What's going on, everyone? This is BunnyMuffins. I recently got to Grandmaster, and a lot of that was due to playing Kaisa. Let's take a look at my stats for a moment. Look at this nonsense. Like, I played 5 games of Recon, and 1.6 average placement, 80% win rate. Unlike the Duelist comp that we went over yesterday, Recons, they help you win a lot of games. Of course, there's a trade-off, and that is you can't go Recons all the time. So we're going to go over 5 total games. One of them is going to be like a regular game. Some of them are going to be games where you roll really aggressively. Some games you roll down and then you don't hit anything. We're going to see how those turn out as well. In total, we'll have 1 game from Diamond, 3 in Masters, and 1 at Grandmasters. And we're going to start off with the Diamond game right now. So the most important thing in the beginning is just having the right items and the right augments. So you might be wondering what those are. Right items, the best item, the only item you actually super need is Static Shiv. A lot of people think Rage Blade's the best item on Kaisa. You don't even need Rage Blade. It's really just Static Shiv. After that, tank items and then 2 more items on Kaisa and you're pretty much good to go. As for augments, you might be thinking like, oh, you got the Recon augment, so like obviously it's going to be a Recon game. I'll be honest, the Recon emblem, it doesn't really do that much. The units that you play in the comp, they don't really benefit that much from it. So that means you're not really making that great of use of your prismatic augment, right? And if everyone else makes perfect use of their prismatic augment, you're going to get overpowered. So the best augments actually for Recon are going to be all the economy augments. So stuff like AFK, stuff like Consistency, Cruel Pack, Double Trouble, March of Progress, Hustler, Triforce. Those are going to be your bread and butter for this comp. For hero augments, the best performing ones is Raider Spoil and Spike Shell. The Kaisa ones honestly aren't that great, but they're still takeable. Credit where credit is due. I was inspired to play Kaisa by this guide I saw on Reddit of all places. This one was made by a person named Brubba, who is a European player, and he got to rank 8 using a lot of recons. This is a little messy, so I'll try to decipher it for you. You want to start bow, rod, or chain. Pre-level for underground and your units. I never actually did the pre-level, but you are more than welcome to try it. If you don't have a econ augment or a hero augment, you definitely want to start underground. If not, you just play a different comp. And then in stage 3, you roll down at 3-2 on level 6 to 0, trying to hit all your units. And then after that, you stay level 7 the entire game and roll down until you get 3 stars of everything. You want Rammus, you want Kaisa, you don't really care that much about Vayne, you want Cho'Gath. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Rammus, Kaisa are the 2 primaries. The rest are pretty much optional. If you get them, great. If not, don't worry too much about it. So this version's actually different to a lot of different Kaisa builds because those running around right now, people like doing the 3 Star Guardian version. But this one is only recon, only threats. So it's a 2 trait comp. One of them is threats, which isn't even a real trait, right? As for items, again, I really only care about Static Shiv. The rest of the stuff I just slam to try to save health. And then for me, the best recon emblem holder that I've actually found is Rammus. I put it on either Rammus or Cho'Gath. I don't actually put it on Bel'Veth like it says in the guide. I don't know what it is. It might be a bug or something like that, but whenever you recon Rammus, he always hits their back line, which is obviously incredible if you have like a 3-star Rammus. And Cho'Gath does decent damage, so whenever he has recon emblem, he ends up critting and dealing a bunch of damage himself. But yeah, we're just playing the underground start right now. Again, if I don't get these stupid starts, I just play something else. I don't play recons. I very selectively play recons, so when I do go for them, they are only under ideal scenarios, which is why this comp is a lot less flexible than something like Duelists that we looked at yesterday. We're on the carousel. There's only one thing we really want. There's a bow Vayne right there. So 2 very good things. Ironically, we don't really need to keep the Vayne. We'll play it for now, but we definitely want the bow on Kaisa. You'll soon realize that Vayne is absolute garbage. In the guide, he says to put your leftover items on Vayne. I don't even do that, I'll be honest with you. I just get 3 damage items for Kaisa, and then I go either utility items or full tank. So I tank up both Rammus and Cho'Gath, so that's like 6 tank items in total, 3 damage items on my Kaisa, and then like utility such as Shroud or something like on random units. I think in this comp, Vayne is just like one of the worst units. So always take the first cash out with Underground. You don't want to actually play Underground that long. So we'll just grab these guys here, sell the Underground units. I even sell the Vayne. Maybe I could have kept the Vayne for 1 round, but let's pick up the gold, make a lot of interest, and yeah, I guess we could recon the Cho'Gath, not really that necessary or anything. But let's keep a secret between you and me. Cho'Gath and Rammus are probably one of the best holders for this Recon crown. Like, it's just, you don't need Bel'Veth because you're rolling at level 7 and you want to get 3-star of the 3-cost units, and I'd rather have more items on my 3-star Cho'Gath or Rammus than my 2-star Bel'Veth. That brings me to my next point. This team composition, it's entirely 1st or 8th. So compared to Duelists, where we were like, oh, we don't need 2-star Zed, we don't even need to hit Zed, we just need to play 8 Duelists and then slam early game items and stuff like that. And we played for top 4s. The playstyle for Recon's completely different. You notice the way I talk already. I just assume I'm going to hit Cho'Gath 3 and Rammus 3 and Kai'Sa 3. Because if we don't, there's just no point in playing the comp. Like, we'll lose anyways, right? So whenever you're playing with that in mind, you have to change up your playstyle a little bit and just like be a lot more optimistic and play around that. Because if you play to like not lose with this comp, you'll get like 7th or something, right? And then when you do hit everything, you might get like a 3rd. Whereas the way we'll actually play it is if we do hit everything, we'll get 1st, and if we don't, we'll go 8th. I don't know if I explained that the best way ever, but I hope you do know what I mean. If you don't, like, just let me know down in the comments. We're going to slam the Static Shiv here, best item in the comp, and we'll save the other bow for other stuff. You could slam Dragon Claw here. I don't think that's that bad. You kind of have to think about stuff like, oh, is it worth waiting for the best cloak items? I don't even know what the best cloak items are, to be honest. Maybe like double stone plate or something like that. Whereas if it helps me kill even 2 more units between now and the carousel round or the wolf camp, that 4 to like 6 HP is well worth the sacrifice of having suboptimal items. By the way, I should have built it on the Cho'Gath because Cho'Gath really benefits from a lot of magic resistance. But we have our augments here, so it's probably Into the Night. Rising Spellforce, we're not doing Ezreal reroll. Into the Night gives us like more items just to slam on random people. I took the Kai'Sa one. Honestly, it sounds better than it seems. Both the Kai'Sa augments are honestly just straight garbage, but we're going to do a big roll down here because we need to stabilize. We're looking for like Kai'Sa 2, Cho'Gath 2, Rammus 2. Those are the big ones. And we play multiple copies of the same unit as well. And this was my first game of looking at the guide. In hindsight, like I probably would have stopped rolling maybe around after I hit Kai'Sa 2, Cho'Gath 2, but apparently you're supposed to roll to 0 here. I definitely am missing the Rammus right now, but it's not the end of the world. You also have to scout around to see how strong everyone else is, because if everyone else is super strong, but like look at this guy, he's like super weak. So I didn't have to roll down to 0, but if you're scouting around and you see everyone is like super strong, then yeah, roll to 0. We'll see that a lot in some of the future games where we're facing much more difficult opponents, so we'll look at some examples in the future. Next round here, we see a vein, so that's very nice. We'll just click that. And another thing, guys, is just because a guide says to do something, you're not supposed to follow it to a T all the time, you know? Like the guide said, roll to 0 on level 6, but like we hit all our upgrades, so after that, we want to go for 3 stars, and there's no way we're hitting 3-star Kai'Sa on 20 gold. So always take guides with like a grain of salt and adapt them to what the outcomes are in your game, because that's ultimately going to make you a better player in the long term. We have a bow and a glove, so we'll just get the rod for Rageblade. You could also go for tank items here. Again, I genuinely believe that Rageblade's one of the most overrated items on Kai'Sa, and it's even more so in this situation because we have a Zeke's Herald. So since we're already getting attack speed from one place, it's better just to have more damage. So if we could have built like a Giant Slayer, I would have preferred that here. But the guide said to go for a Rageblade, so I'm just testing it out, but after playing the other games of Kai'Sa, like, you really just don't need it. So Recon Cho'Gath does troll a little bit. You saw him just dash away and miss everyone there, so I do prefer the Recon spat on Rammus, but if you look at the data, Cho'Gath is just by far the best item holder of Recon Spatula. Obviously, of course, sometimes he trolls like he did there, but there are some games where he just does like incredible wipes, and you'll be thankful you put that you put that item on him, because he just ends up critting and dealing a ton of damage. All right, so this guy's also going Kai'Sa. Is he? He has the Alistair thing, so maybe he's just using Kai'Sa as an item holder and going into like a Talia build, but we're able to wipe him out here. So a lot of things with this team comp is you lose most of stage 2, and then on stage 3, you generally win a lot of those fights, and that's because of our aggressive roll downs on stage 3 too. We're going to try to keep that aggression all the way through stage 4 until we get hit our Kai'Sa 3-star. So this comp is a little bit weird to play. We do want to hit level 7 here. Maybe we could wait till 4-2. I'm not really too sure when the optimal time is for that, but we drop in the Sejuani, And I should roll like a tiny bit. I really need some Ramesses because like Cho'Gath does the magic resist tanking, Rammus does the armor tanking, right? Let's look at our items. It's a little bit weird. We probably have to build some Vayne items this game. I want to save a sword for Giant Slayer, but then this tier is kind of useless on a lot of people. You could just build the Hand of Justice. I think that's what I end up doing here. I found pretty good value in having a tiny bit of healing on Kai'Sa. You don't need that much though. Like I prefer triple damage. Best in slot I think is probably like Static Shiv, double Giant Slayer, but like you don't need that. You just need Static Shiv plus any 2 items and you'll be more than good to go. On this next augment here, so it's for sure think fast. Let's say you weren't ready, you could just take Radiant Relics, but we have full items on our Kai'Sa already, so it's kind of wasted, so we'd have to take a tank item, but we're going to roll down as fast as we can here and try to just go for Kai'Sa, Rammus, Cho'Gath, just the regular stuff. Keep going, man, I'm going so slowly. Oh my god. Why do I have these extra Ezreals? Oh, geez. This is like one of the worst think fast. I just realized there's a lot of time on this round. I went pretty slowly and I hesitated a couple times already, but there's still 15 seconds left, even after I did all that talking. But we get the Kai'Sa 3, very beautiful. We have a lot of Ezreals, but I probably shouldn't have kept the Ezreals. He slowed me down a lot. Let's keep rolling. Maybe we get Zac too. Okay, Vel'Koz, sure. And yeah, not too bad. We spent all our gold, so that's pretty good. This definitely goes on. No. Why is that not on Cho'Gath? Cho'Gath benefits from magic resistance. I don't know. We're contested this game, by the way. This guy has Rammus 3-star, so that's a little unfortunate. I don't know what went through my mind. I probably panicked, put the item on someone. It's 100% on Cho'Gath. Panic happens, you know? All right, so let's econ back up a little. There's really not that much you need to add to the team composition. So the guide says like Star Guardian, or it doesn't explicitly say it, but he doesn't run any Star Guardian. But I think if you do hit everything really early, you should level up and play 3 Star Guardian. I believe it's going to be Nyla and Echo ideally. But we get a nice win here. Kai'Sa's just wiping people. But like, yeah, the Rage Blade helps, but really with any item, she would have wiped everyone there. So let's grab the belt. And the fights don't actually last that long right now. So yeah, I find it, I just prefer Giant Slayer a lot more. This next guy here, he's running Cursed Crown with Built Different. Holy cow, what a combo. But I don't think it's enough to kill all our dudes though. I want to see this Cho'Gath more in action. Let's pay attention to Cho'Gath in the next fight because I have no idea what he ulted here. But look at the damage. Like Cho'Gath with just 1 item is doing pretty solidly. Like just imagine if we had the Dragon Claw on him, he'd actually be popping people. I have a question for you all. Would you guys sell this Rammus 2, put the item on Cho'Gath, and just play the Rammus 1? I feel like that's a bit too aggressive. Like definitely there is some benefit to it, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to just have a Rammus 1 chilling there as my secondary tank. So the primary reason why people don't like reconning their Rammus and Cho'Gath in this comp is because you only have 2 tanks. Like we have 3 right now, but do you really count 1-star Rammus as another tank? So you don't want one of them to run in a weird direction because of recon and then they just walk onto your backline. Here we could probably go like double Zeke's and then Stoneplate. You could also go maybe the, what's it called? Redemption or Redemption Stoneplate just for like turbo tank items. We should probably put it on Cho'Gath because he's 3-starred. I don't know why I'm obsessed with this. Rammus. So BunnyMuffins tip of the day. It's not even that. You guys already know this. If you have a 3-star unit, put items on them. Like, holy cow. There's just no reason not to have the units on him or the items on him. Oh no, this Rammus guy just destroyed my Kai'Sa who somehow walked into the middle of everyone. Okay, so we take a loss here. This dude's really strong. Luckily, he's 17 life. Hopefully someone else can knock him out. And also we have like a ton of gold. So we're going to go for like Vel'Koz 3. I think I should have power leveled here because it's impossible to get the Rammus 3. So I'm rolling for like Ezreal and Vayne, but they don't really do much for my team. I'd much rather just level up, put in Nyla Echo, and call it a day from there. So rolling down here I think is a big mistake because like what's this Vayne 3 even going to do? Let's check the damage chart. So all the other fights she was non-existent in the damage chart. So at 3-star with 3 items, or 2 items, 1.5 because one's a Zeke's. Surely she does something, right? I just really don't think so. Vayne's very underwhelming. Okay, well, she's still alive, right? Yeah, she's dashing around. She just died there at 17 seconds left in the fight. So she should be at least second in the damage, right? Cho'Gath beat her. So yeah, another lesson in this comp, in this specific situation where we can't get Rammus 3, just level up, play 3-star Guardian, because Kai'Sa is the only unit that matters, which means we should just buffer up as much as we can, and the only way to do that from this point is with Star Guardian. So this guy is... Oh, it's the same Samira person again, is it? Wait, I can't know. This is someone else. Are there 2 Samira players? I'm getting kind of confused. But we're in top 3 already, so that's pretty nice. And we have 52 health, so we have the most life. Man, that Rammus is just so powerful. There's only 1 item on that Rammus also, so it's... Both 3-stars just are lacking items right now. Okay, so Yuumi doesn't beat that, thank God. Yuumi is so out of a comp, right? Like, when you hit, it just kills a lot of things. So what do we want here? Probably the Runons for our Vayne. Maybe another Zeke's, just to buff up Kai'Sa more, because Vayne's useless. Maybe there are no good tank items here, so I think it's just the Runons. I don't know. Where am I walking? Okay, I'm going to... Sorry, the Zeke's. Why am I going for Chalice? For AP? Yeah, actually, that's fair. My Vayne has a lot of... what's it called? Attack speed, so getting AP definitely helps her. But the Zeke's helps the Vayne a bit more, but... Like, how much difference is the Chalice versus the Zeke's benefit for the Kai'Sa? But it's like a pretty big difference if you look at the Vayne. All right, please sell this Rammus. And then swap the items. Nope, I don't want to do it. I don't know why I don't want to do it, but... 1, Dragon Claw's the best item on Cho'Gath. 2, he's 3-starred. 3, he only has 1 item. I'm repeating myself a lot, but like... I'm just very surprised that I did this game. By the way, this is what I mean with the Recon Cho'Gath. He runs to the backline sometimes, and it's a little weird. Sometimes he dashes into the enemy team, which is perfect. But he actually blocked a lot of Yuumi hits, so he benefited our team a lot here. All right, so now we're like, oh, maybe we could hit Rammus 3 because a Rammus player died, right? Rolling down, nope. Just please swap it. Yeah, okay. Finally. Declaw and probably Stoneplate, I think, because he doesn't need Redemption because the Dragon Claw already heals him. So let's roll down a bit. I guess Redemption on Rammus is pretty useless because he always jumps away from your team. It's a pretty close call. I don't think it matters that much. All right, so we're against the other Rammus 3 player. He Zephyrs our Rammus. Look at this Cho'Gath. Holy cow, lots of damage there, right? Pretty good reductions. He didn't hit this backline, but there must be a way to position him so that he runs to the back. I just don't know what it is. We'll have to find that out later on. But yeah, Kai'Sa should clean this. And whoa. Vayne with the clutch. Vayne with the clutch and for the victories. I guess Vayne did a little bit there. Was it worth the effort? I don't really know. But yeah, that's the first game in Diamond. That's like pretty typical game. Let's get into some of the more interesting ones. In game number 2, we take my favorite augment. We also have double bow start. So sometimes this comp is hard to go if you don't get bows, but if you don't have bows, you can simply just not go for it. So whenever you have double bow, you always want to consider playing Jax. So aim for like a brawler start, and if something else happens, you could do something else, but always try to go for Jax right now. This next shop here, we get a tier. So here I'm like, oh, we got a static Shiv. Maybe we could go for Kai'Sa, but we're not committed yet. We get a gold drop, so we just buy everything in our shop. It's a good habit to get into, especially in the early game. And now we have our favorite augment. We have 2 very great options, consistency and AFK. So consistency, you really need to see what other people are taking, because if you accidentally win a round, it's just the worst thing ever. AFK is my favorite augment. It just gives you guaranteed tons of gold, and I feel like the trade-off isn't that bad. Just remember to set your team up before you take it so you can make an item. You can also influence what gets put in at level 4 by putting them all the way on the left side of your bench. So those are the only couple things you have to do before taking AFK. So here we're on the carousel. We're not last pick, or we're not first pick, which is really weird because we lost all our rounds. But I'm not actually committed to Kai'Sa yet. I'm still thinking Jax right now, so I'm going to go for the bow. You could do stuff like RFC plus Rageblade, and then use the tier that we have for Redemption. Bows are also really good in Kai'Sa comps because both her and Vayne can use those items really well. So it's really not that much of a, or not that big of a deal. I actually decided to sell everything to go up to 50 gold here because cash is king, you know, and we could still field 4 units. And we want to lose streak anyways, so yeah, we're just going to keep losing here, go for a 5 streak. In the Duelist video, a lot of people were saying, even though I warned you guys not to mention it, they're like, oh, you only show games where you win streak. Well, Duelists, they naturally win streak. It's a composition you play to get top 4s. However, when you're playing recons, you're going for first or nothing. So lose streaking is where it's at. So we're going to show some lose streak games because a lot of people are like, even though I'm playing a win streak comp, they're like, why are you only showing games where you're win streaking? Well, here we're going to be less than 70 life, which is lower than I would like, but we are super, super rich right now. So we didn't really see any brawlers. So here's where I'm like leaning more into the Kaisa build. Off the neutral round, we get a chain, Negatron, and on this last one, some gold. All right, not bad. Again, we're super rich right now. We can like pretty much level to 6 on 3-1 without even losing interest, so that's pretty big. We end up facing a level 4 guy because he's doing reroll Yumi, so that's pretty good because like we're level 6, even though we're not that strong because we just have random units in. We need to prepare for a roll down next turn. So yeah, we get destroyed here, not gonna lie. I probably should have slammed Static Shiv. I think I was waiting to see what my augment is because sometimes there's like a hero augment and then you just switch into whatever you get there. So we're unironically losing to the Yumi player who's level 4. Wait, he rolled down to 10 gold. Holy cow, that's a lot of gold loss. All right, so here we don't get it. Don't get richer when you have a lot of gold. You only take it if you don't have a lot, which is ironic, right? But here I'm thinking like, should I do the 3-2 roll down? Should I level up? I actually level up to 7 because we're so rich. We still have 35 gold to roll with, and that's just the power of AFK. So you could have just done it at level 6, but I feel like 7's a little bit better. Some people might even wait till 3-5, but we're getting a little low for that, so that's a little risky. But yeah, we're just going to try to play random stuff in, and then I'm just going to see what I hit. We do get the Kaisa, so I'm just going to jam random items on her. I'll be honest, like this looks a little scuffed right now. This is not like ideal by any means, but we do have some of the threats on our bench. I should probably play Rammus over this MF, and okay, good, I do that. And hopefully here we see the power of Static Shiv Kaisa. Again, it's by far her best item. There's just no close contender. Like everyone thinks Rage Blade's good on her. Like it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. A lot of people say like, oh, when this isn't best in slot, people assume you think it's bad, but it's not bad. I don't know how to describe that, but like whenever I tell people like, oh, I think this is best, they're like, oh, so you think this other item sucks? I'm like, no, it's just like, I just think these other ones are better. For example, Kaisa without Static Shiv, completely useless. In this meta right now, Giant Slayer is pretty much a must on every single carry. And then the third item, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just build whatever in the third item slot. We get pretty good hits here. We get Kaisa 2. We do want Vayne as well. There are also a couple versions of Kaisa. One build I see is going for like 2 or 3 recon instead of 4 recon, and then Jeweled Gauntlet plus Spear of Shojin. Some people did the math. I wish I could find it, but someone said that Shojin is pretty much like slightly better than Rageblade in a lot of cases. I've not checked the math personally myself, but like I checked the data, like it's about the same. Like the items don't really matter. It's just Static Shiv and then just +2. There's no sword here, so we'll just get the rod. And then we'll just build the Rage Blade. Like, again, it doesn't matter. It's just like a high-cost unit on Carousel, and it's an item we want to build, and there wasn't a sword there. So, yeah, you just build the Rage Blade. That's really all the thought process you need to put into it. You don't need to be like, oh, I need to do this, this, and that to get these items. Like, they weakened items in TFT this set, so items aren't as important to get best in slot anymore. So I think that's a pretty good change, because before you would just, like, sacrifice everything and then just, like, go for whichever items. Actually, is it a good thing? Because sometimes if you don't hit a 2-star, even though you have perfect items, your unit kind of sucks. They're trade-offs to everything, you know? You guys can let me know what you think. We get a nice shop here. We get Rammus and Vayne, but we're just playing the threats. We're just picking up recon units, and then we're going to econ back up to 50 and roll it down. You might be wondering if this is a typical board with AFK. And it pretty much is, you know, like you might have seen like, oh, you hit a lot of Kaisas, but like we rolled 35 gold at level 7. Normally when you roll 30 gold at level 6, you hit Kaisa 2. So rolling 30 gold at level 7, sorry, 35 gold at level 7, of course we're going to hit Kaisa 2. in a lot of cases. You know, I'm not saying it's going to happen every single time, but there's a very high chance it will. It is TFT after all, so there is an element of randomness. But it just goes to show the power of econ augments, and AFK is probably one of the best ones there is. So we get some items, some gold. So we get another rod, which is a little awkward because you don't want 2 rage blades. You get too much attack speed. You cap out at 5.0 attack speed way too quickly. We honestly want some tank items right now. I'll be honest, I do feel like I should be building something because we're 53 HP, so it feels bad just to hold on to items. But we don't really need the Ionic Spark because we have the Static Shiv already, so we want to save the Negatron for like a Titans or something like that. Not Titans, Stoneplate or Dragon Claw. Rod, maybe it could turn into like a Hextech Gunblade for Kaisa. Maybe it could turn into an Archangel's. Maybe even a hat, you know? Over here we get a couple augments. So we do want some items. We do want to complete these items, but Earth Grab Bag, you don't need the spatula. It's completely useless. Verdant Veil is very good. I probably should take Verdant Veil right now. I end up re-rolling, and I guess Radiant Relics, yeah, that's probably the best one. Get a tank item there. You don't need New Recruit. You don't need high-end shopping because you just stay at the same level. It's probably the Warmogs here. It could be Spear of Hirana, but again, you get too much attack speed when you build too many of those items. Maybe it was the Radiant Gunblade. That could have been interesting too, but we don't have items on our tank, and we have like a bow on our bench, so the bow's definitely turning into a Giant Slayer, so you don't need the extra Kaisa item. So since we need tank items, it's going to be Warmogs, and I think that was the only tank item really that there was. Morello you don't need either because you're single target. Whenever you're a single target comp, because like Kaisa just attacks one guy, who cares about the damage that the other people deal, right? You don't need healing reduction because you should ideally just kill the one guy. The comps that need healing reduction are the AoE comps and the stall comps. That's not to say Sunfire Cape or something is bad in this comp because it's pretty good if you put it on Rammus or Cho'Gath because you do play for some stall, but I'd just rather have the pure tankiness of the Warmogs. So we roll down. We're just going to buy all the 3-cost units. We could sell the Vel'Kozes up to get back up to 50. And here it's pretty much just autopilot. You just roll down to 50 every single turn. There's not that much to be wary of, but this is pretty good. We have 1 healing. Oh, that's why I didn't take Hextech Gunblade. I just realized. We have Celestial Blessing already, so not only do we have too many items for Kaisa on our bench, but we also have healing, so it would just be overkill. So yeah, it's just 100% Warmogs. And here we're facing the... Is this a Yumi guy? Yeah, he doesn't have that many items yet, just the blue buff, and that's not enough damage to kill a Kaisa, even with heart stacking and Ascension. Later on, definitely we'll get 1 tap, but let's get a tank item here. So we have this Negatron, so it's probably just the Chain Vest. Unfortunately, it's double Titans, which honestly, like, it's not that bad. It's only awkward because we have 3 tanks right now. We have 2 Rammuses, and then we have a Cho'Gath. So you don't get the full solo tank value on it, and probably the Dragon Claw would be better, but it wasn't there, so we can't pick and choose, you know? So we just built the Stoneplate and call it a day. But this is what I love about this comp. Like, there are a lot of 2-star 4-costs on this board, and like, if we lose to them, so be it, you know? Like, we'll lose some life total, but this, it stabilizes really hard once you hit Kaisa 2. So from stage like 3-2, we didn't even hit Kaisa 2 at stage 3-2, I don't think. But somewhere in stage 3 we hit it, right? And we just been perma win streaking until like late stage 4. Like, even if we lost this one, it's not the end of the world. And then throughout that whole time, unlike the Duelist comp, which does the same thing from stages 3 to 4, where you just win every round or most rounds, Duelists don't cap out. Like, getting a Vayne 3 doesn't mean that much, but getting a Kaisa 3 means a lot. So if we're beating a lot of boards that have like 2-star 4-costs already, imagine what's going to happen once we get the 3-star Kaisa. Like, no matter what legendaries they get, we're still going to have a pretty good shot at beating them. My positioning here is a little risky, but Kaisa did dash to safety, so she's good there. Didn't get hit. Oh, no, no, she walked back into the Jax. Sometimes she does that. It's a blessing and a curse, you know? Like, there are times where like you're like, holy cow, great dash, and then there are other times she just walks right into him. We need Giant Slayer to beat this guy, though, so once we get that, it's all good. Just do another quick roll down to 50. We get a Vayne. Vayne doesn't really matter that much, but oh, holy cow, we get the Rammus. So once you 3-star your threats, you need to start thinking about putting in the Star Guardians. So here we just get the Giant Slayer. The hat's whatever. We'll just throw it on whoever. Let's roll down a bit. We have to think about when we want to all in. We're 3 off of Kaisa right now, but it's also getting late in the game because we did lose the last round, right? And we're also like really close to Cho'Gath, so you just hit one of them and then you're chilling. What am I doing? Oh no, I didn't build the Giant Slayer. Okay, I'm trolling. I am trolling for sure. So the reason why Giant Slayer is in every single comp right now is because it's just the best late game item, which makes complete sense, right? In the late game, everyone has a lot of health, so why wouldn't you build a Giant Slayer? It's weaker in the early game for sure, so that's why you don't like slam it right away if you can help it. And it's never anyone's like first best in slot item, and it makes complete logical sense. But in the late game, it just runs through all those tanks. Since we lost another round, we do need to roll a little more. So we get the Urgot, which is nice for CC. Probably a little better than Vel'Koz. Not by that much, though, because Vel'Koz gets a good person every time. There's the Vayne. If we had Vayne 3, then yeah, I could see the Rage Blade being justified, but we don't have her yet, so that's why I wouldn't have built it. There's Kaisa, so we're 2 off? Oh, but that's pretty far. Okay, oh my god! That's just a hasty mistake at the end of the round, so that's a little unlucky there. I remember this game now after seeing that. a little sad, but it's okay. That's why I always move the stuff I want to the right side, or like keep them all in one place so I don't accidentally do that, even after I buy them. But it's all good. All right, the Gunblade, I guess, isn't like that horrible because she is taking some damage, but maybe with the Giant Slayer, this frontliner would be dead already. That is the tankiest Annie I've ever seen. Holy cow. Maybe I have to put that on my OnlyFans or something like that. That is a very tanky Annie. All right, let's roll down a little more. Maybe we get the Vayne back this time. Please come back to me. Okay, we get something even better. It's the Kaisa. And then, yeah, just click it. You could wait to click just so people don't know that you spiked. Sometimes when you spike, it incentivizes other people to roll. So you could just wait a little bit sometimes. It's not the make or break or anything, but it's just a small little thing you can do. We need tank items on this Rammus. So off this carousel, we're for sure going to prioritize that over a Vayne item because tanking's just more important. Vayne items are... Vayne just doesn't matter in general. Like, even if she was 3-star, even if she was itemized, Recon doesn't do that much for her. It's mainly Duelists that make Vayne good, and we're just not running Duelists. So even if we run 2 Duelists, it's probably not enough. Like, look at that. Cho'Gath did more damage. Like, Vayne's just sitting in the back with a Rage Blade. Like, just trust me, she doesn't do that much. Protector's Vow, probably the best thing we could get there. We have nothing else to do, so we'll just roll down to get this Vayne 3. We're really low life. Can't really reach level 8 and put something random in. Did we get the Vayne this game? One more roll? Oh, I still have Ash 1. That's too funny. Honestly, is there even a difference between Ash 1 and Ash 2? I don't think so. She's just there to give your team 100% crit and like abilities crit as well. What do we get there? We get some gold. But yeah, holy cow. She's just ripping through everyone right now. Except the Oxforce. But yeah, pretty standard, right? Like, that guy has 75 life, so it's going to take a while to kill him. But unless he gets some like crazy legendary stuff, like the game looks pretty in the bag. We'll do a couple more rolls before we try to reach level 8s, and there is the Vayne 3. We'll just click that. It doesn't do that much, you'll see. But like, since we're almost there, you might as well just grab it, you know? Like level 8, I'll put in a Fiddlesticks or something like that, or a Vel'Koz. It's not going to make that much of a difference. So we're against this Soraka guy. No GS is still hurting us. I think this is the guy that beat us last time. This was the Annie. Are we able to do it? The Oxforce really messes with you too, but this Cho'Gath's too tanky. Maybe it's a tank item on Rammus, which stalled out a lot of time for us this game. That really, really helped. But we're top 5 still, so not a top 4 yet, and we're still 1 loss off from dying. But since everyone else is like lower than us, they might knock each other out. So it's clearly just a Bramble here. You could Zeke's, like Zeke's isn't horrible. I'm checking for crit right now, but you should probably just always take the Bramble here because it's just the best Rammus item, you know. It gives him a lot of armor, and armor's his best stat. I guess QSS isn't horrible, but I think Bramble's just better here. You could even QSS your tanks just so their CC always goes off. Because you know how there's some games when you're playing Sejuani, and Okay, so we get the Star Guardians. That's very nice. You're playing Sejuani, and then she gets stunned before she casts her stun. And then you're like, hey, why isn't she going off? Because she's stunned. And then by the time she goes off, half your team is dead. Well, if you have QSS, that prevents that from happening. So that's why it's like a decent item for your CC units in the late game. I'm not saying it's best in slot. Like, if you were to tell me, would you rather have a Bramble Vest or a Stone Plate or something like that over a QSS? Like, of course I would, but like, it's not a bad option to look at. We kind of barely win this fight. I don't know. It's hard to tell because our Kai'Sa never got damaged. You pretty much just have to not be that outnumbered in order for Kai'Sa to win fights. We got a couple better Star Guardians. We got Nyla and Echo. Not the biggest things of importance, but still better than nothing. We're just dodging Zephyrs, so that's why I'm positioned weirdly right now. Like, Kai'Sa's in the middle, Vayne's like kind of next to each other. Normally you want to spread them out for all the AoE comps like Talia, but because this guy was trying to Zephyr me, I just swapped really randomly at the end, and we are able to dodge it. So this guy, he has a lot of HP, but his team's so weak compared to everyone else. He's lucky that these other people are killing each other off. But, I mean, that's the advantage of playing for early game. You get a lot more HP to play with at the end. And just, he's probably going second, and it's up to me or the other guy to get first place right now. So there's another Echo. Maybe Rel's better than Nyla. Nyla heals, Rel gives resistances. I feel like in the late game, resistances are a lot better than flat healing. This person is... oh, the Annie guy. This Nunu's a little annoying. He got Ionic Spark, so that's a little dangerous. But he doesn't have Talia. Soraka hits frontline only. Talia's much better into Kai'Sa than Soraka, but you know, you don't have a choice sometimes because you build your comp around Soraka, and then you're not going to change it at the end just because of one matchup, right? I mean, you could. It would just be very expensive too. Wow, the first place guy actually beat the other dude. Okay, what do we want here? Tank item, so just go for the Stone Plate. Pretty easy pick there. Oh, also, I know that Nyla gives Duelists to your Vayne, but like, Vayne's just not important. Like, if the extra resistances help my tanks live like just half a second longer, that might be better than like whatever attack speed Vayne gets. What is this guy even playing? He's playing Aphelios Duelist. That's actually pretty scary. But he doesn't do any damage. Even with the Giant Slayer, like, we just have so many resistances his Vayne can't deal with it. She does do true damage, but not enough. We roll down. We get the Nyla, and we could lock for this Ashe, you know? I guess we don't have to lock. We either lose and lose the game, or we win and then we have enough gold to buy it. But that's probably the difference maker in this fight. Ashe 2 versus Ashe 1. Yeah, I mean, this guy, he just not enough damage. He just can't puncture the front line. And then Kai'Sa, our queen, is just sitting in the back. And just Rammus did the most damage. But look at this. Vayne did no damage. 3 people out-damaged the Vayne. Also, I don't know how Kai'Sa got out-damaged by Rammus, but like, I guess that's Bramble just destroying them. We get another item here. I guess Deathblade on Vayne. Like, sure. We'll give Vayne an item now. These fights are lasting so short. A lot of people, they like Ascension with Kai'Sa, and I think it's good, but it's mainly good in the mid-game. Like, stage 4 and 5, maybe it's really good. Stage 3 as well. But once you get to, like, stage 6, stage 7, like, the fights last so short that you just don't need Ascension anymore. But it's still a good augment. Just some food for thought, because, like, these fights were so fast. But yeah, another great win there. We showed the power of AFK, but let's move on into the third game. Now for game number 3. All right, we got Sword Start. That's why I have it completed on the Nasus right now, because I just kept the Nasus. I like using Nasus as item holder. Sometimes you could play him with mascots for Yuumi reroll, but since I know I'm not doing that, I might as well just hold on to him and get him for free for 2-star. If we had stacks on stacks, I would take it, but I've never gotten it yet. I really want to try it. I probably should have just taken the Blitzcrank hook before I rerolled, but after rerolling, I am very glad I did because I got pretty lucky. Raider Spoil is one of the best augments at 2-1. At least right now it is. But I don't think it's worth using the reroll. The Blitzcrank hook was very takeable, and I was just being a little greedy. I realize it doesn't match up the best with my Nasus 2-star, but it's... yeah, it's just... I don't know how to say it other than it's just takeable. But let's just play these two guys out here. I probably should have played Gangplank over the Camille. Oh, nice. I do that. And then, do you slam any items? I guess you could put a bow on GP if you really want to. I kind of want to wait a little bit. Runons is committing to something that maybe you don't want. Ezreal, he works with a lot of comps. So this augment in particular is one of the best augments for Kai'Sa reroll. It's not actually the Kai'Sa carry augments. They're kind of bad because other people's 3-cost augments are just much stronger. It's not that I'm saying like, oh, it's horrible to get Kai'Sa augment when you're playing Kai'Sa. Of course, it's like not bad, but everyone else gets stronger relative to how much you get stronger, so that's why it's not as good. Again, this is another one of those examples where I'm like, hey, I like this, or like this isn't the best thing in the world, but then people are like, oh my god, you don't think it's the best thing in the world? That means you think it's the worst thing in the world, which just isn't the case, right? But like you compare it to Jack's evasion, for example, and it's like the power level difference is just so intense. That's why we really, really like Raider Spoil, because it's a 2-cost augment, and yeah, you just get a free item. There's just not too much else about that. A free Ornn item at that. It is random, granted, but you also get a gold per round. So when that happens, you just get a huge economy. And what does this comp really like? It likes a big economy. So it's literally the picture-perfect augment because it's also a recon, and you could potentially get underground earlier. We don't do underground this game, which is fine. You don't have to do it every game. In fact, if I showed you games where I got underground every single time, you probably wouldn't learn that much, right? Because, well, we'd be doing the same thing every time. So I'm actually glad we kind of got this. We're probably going to do a win-lose because we have a lot of 2-stars. Weirdly enough, I know we didn't level up. I probably could have played for a win streak this game. Just because I had a lot of 2-stars. No synergies, but I do have 2-stars and the free item. And we probably could have slammed Giant Slayer. It's not the best thing in the early game, but you always do want one eventually. So maybe we could have just done like a win-lose with that. And it wouldn't be too horrible because, yeah, we're missing out on a little bit of interest. Or maybe we're losing out on a little bit of streak gold. But with Raider Spoils, you just get +1 gold per turn, so you're not really too concerned about all that other econ nonsense. But I guess if we get another bow, we could potentially play anything. Bows are so hard to get nowadays. So what happens if you don't get bows when you're trying to go for Kai'Sa? Well, one, you're never forced to go Kai'Sa. But let's say in some world, you get a lot of the Kai'Sa units, you have a really good econ, but you don't have bows, what item should you build instead? Some that are good is Jeweled Gauntlet. You could run Jeweled Gauntlet, and then you could drop Ashe, so you don't have to play 4 recon. You just stay at 3 recon. Another one you could do is Spear of Shojin. People like it on Kai'Sa. We talked about it a little bit last game. And then Guardbreaker is also highly underrated. Archangel Staff, good too. Shield Breaker is also good. I'm trying to think of other ones. There must be others that are also pretty playable. Hand of Justice is fine. So there are a lot of different options you could do if you just happen to hit a lot of natural Kai'Sas. Again, of course, it's better to just have the bows, but it's highly contested right now. So even like I've been trying to play Kai'Sa today, and I didn't do so well on it because 1, I was contested in all 3 Kai'Sa games, and you really don't want to be contested with this comp. 2, my items were scuffed, so I did not get enough bows, and that really costed me. But you know, that's part of this build. You know, they play the Duelist comp if you want to get top 4. You play this comp if you want 1st or 8th. So there's always a balance and always trade-offs in everything in life, including in TFT, and that's just one of them. But we get defeat 5 loss. We actually win this last round. Perfect. You know what? In the game, I probably should have inted this round, but now that we're watching it in hindsight, I like this because it's going to show us a game where we have lower economy because we didn't full streak. But I definitely should have just sold my whole board here and just automatically lost streaked. So pretty big mistake there. But, you know, this is good because maybe you guys are making mistakes in your games too. And then you're like, hey, I watched the video and I don't have as much gold as you. So now we won't have as much gold. You might have even more gold. So no excuse in your game, right? Because you should have more gold than me here if you play correctly. Of course, I'm not saying like you always have to play perfectly. I don't think anyone plays perfectly, but it will paint a better picture of like maybe if you get a little bit unlucky in your game, you know? So we get a rod and a sword, so that's beautiful, right? We could build a lot of things there. Double Giant Slayer, Rageblade Giant Slayer. It's probably Rageblade Giant Slayer. You could also do Ionic Double Giant Slayer. That's a little too much tank killing if you do Ionic Double Giant Slayer. Like, you lower their magic resistance and you have double damage buffs if they're high HP. There is such thing as overkill. So you'd rather balance it out. And of course, we'd rather have the static shiv. I typically tend to only build the Ionic Spark if I get too many rods or if I don't have a static shiv. So like, I'm going to save this bow for static shiv instead of just slamming the Giant Slayer. But if you built Giant Slayer here, I wouldn't be too angry about it. Some people, if you like playing Vayne, there are some Vayne believers, and I've seen them. Some of them are high ranked. They're more Kaisa believers than Vayne believers, but you could just start building Vayne items and build like a Deathblade if you really want. But I'm more of a Kaisa guy. Very interesting shop here. Not really. Build different, no. High-end shopping, we don't need it because we're rolling for 7 costs, or on level 7. Changing to level 8 doesn't really do anything for us. So by default, only preparation is takeable. And we're doing our 3-2 roll down now. We want to at least get a Kaisa on our bench to roll down with. Ideally, we get 2 copies of every unit and then put 1 on the board, 1 on the bench. This is looking a little rough. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So put that in, probably buy this other... I skipped Rammus! Oh my god. Don't skip Rammus like how I did. So we could have had the dream. 1 Rammus on bench, 1 Rammus on board, but it is what it is. Mistakes happen. So we probably want to... Yeah, we already built the Rage Blade. We'd swap that onto Kaisa. I think we dropped the bow on her. You could... Yeah... You do want the Shiv. I'm not sure about this Giant Slayer Slam. It's a very good item. I'm not too sure how important Shiv is. Normally when I've been playing, I prioritize Shiv really heavily. Also, by the way, this guy's going Recon Crown, so we might be a little contested this game. But this item discussion is really tough because if we're low health, which we are, we're in the bottom 4 of the lobby right now, you definitely want to preserve HP. Also, I'm rolling a little extra here. I really just want to get Kaisa on my bench to start stacking preparation, but we're not able to get her there. If you have around like 10 gold at this point, you could still make it to level 7 on 4-1 or 4-2. So it's not the end of the world if you're at 10 gold on stage 3-3. Like ideally, you're at around like 15 or 20 because you roll down to 10 on stage 3-2. But a lot of times on stage 3-2, we roll to 0. So if you're at 10 here, you're still on pace of the regular like pacing. Let's pick up some tank items though, because we have none. So I'm gonna go for, I took the chain here. Belt is normally the best tank item, but since we have the Negatron cloak, taking the chain perfectly fine because it allows us to slam the item right away. Another interesting option would be to take the rod because that builds Ionic Spark. And that 1 uses the cloak, and 2, we don't have static shiv, so the whole situation we were talking about before. I think this would have been a really good game to build the Ionic Spark. I make another mistake here. Can you guys guess what it is? I built the stone plate, which I would do all the time, but I put it on Rammus. Who should I put it on? Cho'Gath, because Cho'Gath's 2-star, Rammus is 1-star, and you just save a lot more HP that way. Even though I'd rather have the items on Rammus, let's say 2 stages from now, the immediate gains we get from him here because Cho'Gath is 2-star is just so much bigger than having slightly better items like a stage later. This next shop, nothing too much interesting here. We're facing off against, I guess this guy's going some sort of caster comp, but he has Titan's Resolve. I'm not sure if that's actually that great on Annie, but maybe he was just slamming to slam. He has too many bows, but he's playing a comp that doesn't need it, so it's a little ironic because bows are really hard to get nowadays. But we should beat this guy even with 1-star Kaisa because he doesn't really have any backline damage. Maybe the Ox Force on Annie is too much for us, but I think we should win. Zach's really good against Lulu, so Lulu's his main damage dealer right now, and look at how much time she's wasting. Do we actually? Yeah, we win this one for sure. Okay, very nice win there. So we're 60 life. I wish I was a little healthier, but it is what it is. There's the Kaisa 2. Don't build it yet because I think we could get 1 more preparation stack. I actually ended up buying it and then just benching my Kaisa just to get the stack. So yeah, however you do it, just make sure you get the stack and make sure you could kill wolves. With 2-star Cho'Gath, he could pretty much solo this, so I'm not too concerned there. I probably should have even bought the Talon and stacked maybe the Cho'Gath on the bench too, because I'm pretty sure I still beat it. So we could sell a bunch of these guys. Don't really need any of them. I don't sell fast enough. It's okay. So we lost 1 gold there. little bit of a mistake. But see what I mean? We were at 10 gold at 3-3, which is the equivalent of 0 gold at 3-2. And we could level up right now if we wanted to, but I think we're going to wait a turn, level up at 4-2, and go from there. And then the question here is, do we double Giant Slayer? I think it's good. We are by no means in an ideal Kaisa game, so I think it's a little greedy to not build the item. Just my opinion. So if we were higher health, if we were like 90 HP for some reason, sure, greed the items, but we're a little low. We're not close to Kaisa 3-star, so the way you like win out is with Kaisa 3, right? But we don't have any copies of Kaisa, so you might as well just slam the item and just get an immediate power spike, maybe save some health, and play for like a 6 right now. Let's see what we would get here. Celestial Blessing, pretty decent. Thieves Gloves, pretty decent too. Makeshift, not good. So it's probably Celestial Blessing. Thieves Glove is nice, just because you could put it on like Vayne or something like that, but or Zac or Cho'Gath even. But we really just need like a tiny bit of healing. The great thing about Recon, Celestial Blessing 1 is actually the best Celestial Blessing for this comp because you don't need that much healing. So if you're getting a Silver Augment and getting like exactly the amount of healing you need, you spike a little harder than other comps in a relative manner. Everything in TFT is relative, right? So it's like, first Silver Augments, this is an incredible one for us to get. Like if we get a Prismatic Celestial Blessing, someone else is going to get something insane, and then it's not that great anymore, right? Especially since Recons don't need that much healing. I just need like a tiny bit, right? Like a Hand of Justice worth of healing. I don't need a BT worth of healing. I don't need a Hextech Gunblade worth of healing, though Hextech Gunblade's still okay. I just need like that little tiny bit from the Silver Celestial, so beautiful for us. This game's looking pretty doomed though. All right, we get 2 Cho'Gaths, that's really nice. And then now I think we just need to hit Rammus 2 before we just econ all the way back up, and then slow roll for Kaisa or just like all in for her. Because Rammus 2 is going to be the only upgrade that actually helps our board right now. Vayne 2 does nothing. Oh no, not a Camille guy. If he ever has Hacker on Camille, it's just so devastating for Kaisa, because sometimes you don't get to dash away and the Camille just one-taps you, but we have double, look at this double Giant Slayer on that. Oh my god. That's insane, Giant Slayer. The 3-star Camille just melted in like 2 Kaisa casts, even at 2-star. So imagine what happens if we have 3-star Kaisa. We just mow through that comp. And that's the power of Giant Slayer. It beats all these reroll comps, and that's what a lot of people play right now. We're second pick on this carousel. We just grabbed the tank item. It's the belt that we talked about earlier. Not too much else to analyze here. We luck out into another Kaisa, but we're still really far because we have 0 gold. Obviously you buy it, but we're just doing the waiting game, econing back up, and we really need this Rammus 2. Like I don't even care that much about the Kaisa. The Rammus 2 buys so much time for us, but belt's really good. Sunfire Cape, Warmog, ZZ Rot Portal. I'm sure there are a couple other items that I'm missing out on. Great horn item there. We just get a free hook. You always have to be careful when you're facing people with Raider spoils, because they get that Orn hook, and then that could cost you 20 HP, you know? So always make sure if you're facing one of them, just put an insurance policy in the corner. And yeah, you just have to play around it because it is very devastating, obviously, if you don't position for it. I'm actually down for them to remove that interaction because it's such a low chance, right? It is, first they have to have their Raider spoil on a tank unit for you to get that item. And then I believe there are maybe like 4 Orn tank items, maybe 3. So it's like a 25 or 33% chance to even get that option. And it's just like so silly to kind of have to play around because you also only have a 1/3 in chance of facing them because you have potentially 3 opponents per round on average. So that's 1 in 3 times 1 in 4. I don't know the math on that. Someone do the math. It's pretty low though. It's around like 7%, 8%. Yes, probably around like 8%. So it's like, you'd still have to play around it though, because if you don't, you lose 20 life. So it's up to you whether you want to play those odds or not. The items we get here are actually pretty decent because we get a belt for Warmogs. We could build a Redemption, and then with this tier, Protector's Vow, absolutely bonkers combo right there. If we get this Rammus 2, it's actually saved. We're getting really close to Kaisa. We are hitting a lot of Kaisas, I will admit that. This is a bit of a lucky game, so definitely keep that in mind in terms of hitting Kaisas. So yeah, sell this Rammus on our the 1-star Rammus on the board. Transfer the items over to Cho'Gath. We want Warmogs, and we want... Okay, is it Sunfire Cape Redemption, or is it Protector's Vow Warmogs? I think Protector's Vow Warmogs, because Protector's Vow is just the best third tank item almost all the time. And then Warmogs with Stoneplate, they just have so much synergy. Like, everything has so much synergy. But Stoneplate, not Stoneplate, Sunfire plus Redemption, it has its merits, but Redemption's better if you do multi-tank comps. And we do have multi-tanks. I'm not saying we don't, but is the 1-star Rammus really going to do that much? I don't really think so. He also jumps away, so you don't even get that much redemption value. So I'd say, yeah, this combo's probably better. We get the Vayne 2, which is really nice. We don't care about Vayne 3. We're just looking for the Cho'Gath. We're at 5 HP, so I'm definitely sweating right now. And, oh god, this Camille player. We scouted this, so we were able to dodge the Camille, but it's super, super scary because she just one-taps everyone. And luckily, she gets stuck on the Cho'Gath. I think this is just really good matchmaking RNG based on the way we position, and then Kaisa just needs to do like 2 autos to knock that guy out, so that's very beautiful there. This Jane player is really toxic, pinging on my way to the guy that got knocked out. I think it's because this game she was going for Camille 3 and then the other player contested her. Just really funny. I've been noticing lately, because there are a lot of reroll comps, the chats are really toxic right now in game. Like, I've noticed a pattern the past 2 days especially. This never happened 2 weeks ago, even though it's pretty much, or even 1 week ago, even though it's pretty much the same rating. And it's just whenever someone's contested, everyone's just spam scouting each other. Everyone's typing in all chat, like cursing the other guy and like pinging on my way when they get knocked out. It's just been really toxic recently, and I think it's due to reroll. But let me know if your guys' games have been like that too, and has it happened this whole set or just the past couple days? Because for me, it's mainly the past couple days where that happens a lot. So what do we want here? There is a Shiv. Screw it, Shiv on Vayne. That's more than enough. Don't ask me why I'm taking the 2-cost Shiv instead of the 4-cost Shiv. That's just a brain lag. Whenever I coach my friends, I see them do the same exact thing, and I'm always like so mad at them. But then I just do it here because there's like too much going on, I guess. You definitely want to put this static Shiv on Vayne. I think she attacks the fastest. And one thing to note, this is actually best in slot Kaisa with a static Shiv on a second unit. The reason why I like static Shiv on Kaisa specifically is because during stage 3 and 4, she completely carries those fights with a static Shiv. But once you're late game, you want that item on someone else. So if you do have an item remover and you could put double GS Rageblade on her, which probably is her best in slot late game items, maybe even like triple Giant Slayer is better or something. If you have the option of the static Shiv on someone else, then it's like very, very good because it's as if she has an extra item. Or if you have an Ionic Spark, for example, they both do the same thing. But you don't always have that luxury, and that's why you generally have the Kaisa. This Cho'Gath absolutely smurf, by the way. That's why you have the static Shiv on your Kaisa to really carry you through the mid game. Oh my god. Keep in mind, if I lose this, I'm just out of the fight, and Cho'Gath just completely clutched it right there. We've been scraping our way all the way from 7th, and now we are 4th right now, so we are very happy. Let's just roll down for fun for this Rammus 2. We could maybe start picking up the Star Guardians. Probably 2 random Star Guardians with Cho'Gath solo tank because he has a stone plate is probably good enough, you know? We're getting hit by the Yuumi, but it's a 1-star... No, it's a... Yeah, 1-star Yuumi and then 1-star Talia. How is this guy 90 HP or whatever? Like, he just super win streak because he has Zoe Heart. That's why. Zoe Heart is a very strong combo. And look at this Celestial Blessing value. That's exactly what I'm talking about. We did not need any more healing from this, so if it was a gold augment and we got gold Celestial Blessing, yeah, we'd heal more, but they'd probably kill us because their augment would have been better. But this was just enough, and they didn't get that much stronger, so it was just perfect. That's like one of those prime examples right there. You just need a tiny bit of healing. We hit a Rammus 2 and apparently Yasuo 2. Why not complete it, you know? This last unit doesn't really matter at all. Ideally, maybe an Urgot or something, or maybe a Janna if the weather's good. This is for sure... Actually, I'm not for sure. Maybe it's a Quicksilver on Vayne just so she gets more static Shiv procs. Edge and Knight is really good on Vayne also because if they one-tap her, they just don't, so they have to cast 2 spells on her, so Talia needs to cast twice. It might have been Edge and Knight. Oh, we did get it. Okay, I thought we clicked Dragon Claw for a moment. Let's roll down a bit. I don't even know what we're looking for. It probably just replace this Yasuo with literally anything. Vel'Koz 1 probably better than the Yasuo 2. I don't really think, yeah, Vel'Koz 1, he always goes off, right? As long as he doesn't get AoE'd by Talia. But does this Talia cast? She does, but I guess this Talia needed 2 casts anyways because she didn't crit. But imagine if she crit there, our Vayne, if she got hit, you would need to hit her twice just because of Edge and Knight. It's really broken in the late game. I remember playing Yuumi once, and this guy had double Edge and Knight on his backline, and Yuumi had to cast 4 times to kill them, and that took too long, and then I lost that fight. I guess Yasuo is giving us Duelists when we have Static Shiv Vayne. Yeah, maybe Yasuo is good. It just seems weird to be running him. And he's, of course, better than Zed because Yasuo does CC if he does manage to go off. Let's see if he does. Let's watch him. Does Yasuo... He does get a... Did he go off? I couldn't tell. Too much is happening on my screen. The Fiddlesticks is active, though. Our Cho'Gath is just completely beasting it out and just buying infinite time in the world for a Kai'Sa just to really pop off. And just like that, we're in third, and we're beating this other guy with our Ghost. So we're in a really good position right now. And I guess we could level up now, just play a random unit. And you guys see what I mean, right? Like, once you hit the 3-star Kai'Sa and like you get 1 3-star tank, ideally you have 2 3-star tanks. We should have Rammus 3, Cho'Gath 3 by this point if we're actually high rolling, but we're like doing slightly above average, I'd say, because we were able to hit Kai'Sa at a pretty timely time. But this isn't even the most cap board. The most cap board is like getting a bunch of items and then having 2 tanks fully tanked out plus 3 items on Kai'Sa. That is like the peak of the board. And yeah, you just see in the late game, just with Kai'Sa 3 and Cho'Gath 3, we're wiping out a lot of people, you know? Just... yeah, there's not much else to say. Like, this board is very good at getting first place just because it just goes completely ham. We got kind of lucky in another way because there's a lot of ability power in this game, and we have Cho'Gath 3. So if we had Rammus 3 and people were playing a lot of ability power, it would not be as strong. But it could also be the other way around. Sometimes if we get Cho'Gath 3 and there's a lot of, like, Samira players, could be a little dicey. Zizirot's not bad. Redemption's not bad. Blue buff's pretty good, too. We do get the blue buff. I don't know if you all have been noticing or not, but sometimes this Rammus is not casting. So blue buff should guarantee a quick cast at the start of the fight. And hopefully that's enough to do some damage. All right, there's the Rel. We'll put that in over Yasuo. Give our... what's her name? Our Kai'Sa a little more mana, which is obviously really welcome. We're facing the Talia player. Maybe we could see the Edge and Knight difference in this game. Nope, she missed again. Imagine Vayne was Ezreal, though. She would live. Okay, yeah, just a quick wipe there of the Ghosts. And then, does the other guy get knocked out? It is looking like it. So it is a second, at least. And then now we just have to beat this guy, who honestly isn't that strong. The first place guy kind of just win streaked in the early and mid game. But he isn't really that powerful, I don't think, because maybe he went level 9 and didn't hit all the legendaries. A full legendary board probably should beat the Kai'Sa 3, but it's really close. With these items, double Giant Slayer just scales so well into late game, so it's tough to say. If I had like Jubilant Veil or something like that, it would be GG, but I don't, so there is a chance she gets CC'd. Also, this guy's clumping against Cho'Gath. Look at my Cho'Gath positioning. All the way to the right, watch what he does. He walks right up to his team, and then bzzz on everyone. Mana read. His Yuumi is also feeding my Kai'Sa mana. Not enough damage to kill her. And then, oh, until Talia does her thing. But, yeah. Is that a Celestial Blessing diff? I don't really know. I guess Vayne kind of cleaned. Cho'Gath kind of carried. I guess it's a team effort after all. Tiny mistake here. So I popped the item armory, and I do it a little early because you want to hide this rocket grab because he's not going to play around it, right? But is just so strong. And if you ever want to cheese a win, and we're in stage 7, so people take a ton of damage here. I could very well one-tap him. So you want to wait till the very last moment to pick this item so he doesn't know that you have it. But I did want to roll a little bit, so I end up taking it. But that's why you don't pop it yet. You do your roll down first and then pop it, choose your item really quickly, and then put it on someone. Maybe give yourself like 5 seconds. But yeah, we'll just put it on like... I should have waited. Our Kaisa should have been around in the center, not all the way to the right, and then I should hook his Talia. So I should have put it on my left tank, and then if Kaisa's where my Ezreal is, she'll just target that person, and Talia would have been instantly dead. But luckily we weren't punished for that mistake, and we're able to... Yeah, Cho'Gath got this, right? Yeah, beautiful. Which should give us the win. Nope, not yet. We got one more fight. We roll down for fun here. I guess we're looking for Echo. That would be about it. Echo 2 would be good. It's debatable to sell our Rammus and put in a new Rammus in order to get a better hook to guarantee the Talia, but he played around it a little bit. But we could have hooked his Sona then. But it's all good. We're just too strong. We got Cho'Gath 3-star against an AP comp, so it just... He has no way of killing him, I don't think. So, yeah. Get a nice win there. Raider Spoil is OP. We didn't play the early game the best. We didn't lose streak perfectly, but we're still able to hit Kaisa and then just win out. If we didn't hit Kaisa, I'm not too sure what place we would have gotten, but it wouldn't have been so bad. You either hit the Kaisa 3 or you hit like a Rammus 3. We also were stuck on Rammus 1 for all the game, right? So you could say like, oh, you just got lucky hitting Kaisa 3, but like there are some things that we didn't hit and it wasn't all perfect. And this next game, we're going to go over definitely things that are not perfect. So if you want to see a low roll game, this is definitely it, because sometimes that happens and you need to know how to deal with it. We have a sword start. We get a rod. I'm actually going to sell for econ here, but I'm going to keep the Vise because we want, what do you call it? Raider Spoil again. Amazing. We want underground. So we do get it. So that's pretty good. And you might be thinking high roll game because we have underground and Raider Spoils, but you guys will see. We level up, drop in GP because he's level 2. You don't always have to lose streak underground either. We're just doing one cash out, and really you just need it by 2-2. You don't need it by 2-1 because you'll get one cash out anyways by the time stage 2 ends. So it's all good if you get it on 2-2 versus 2-1. It's honestly the same thing. But earlier is better because you do have the option of going for a 2 cash out, but we really just take the 1 and move on with our day. This guy's going blue buff Ezreal. That's really scary. He probably has Rising Spell Force, and yeah, very scary build, especially if you start the game with a blue buff. That's like super high roll. That guy should be doing well this game. This next round, don't really need to do too much. Buy the Ashe, that's it. You always buy the full shop, but it's always good to note which champions you actually care about keeping, just in case you move on to the next round. Or like maybe you're in situations where you're like, oh, which champions do I actually care about? But you see a streamer buy every champion and he doesn't specify which. Those are situations that are a little confusing because you're like, hey, if I was 15 gold or instead of 17 gold, what unit should I have bought, you know? But yeah, we'll just pick up these random guys. You just really care about the Ashe there. Next round here, there's another Kale. If we upgrade it, great. If not, who cares, because we're selling all these underground units later on. We're about to face a Spirit of the Exiles. Not that great of a augment just because lockets are so good in Duelists. So it's a little ironic there. We get Trinity Force, which is okay. It's pretty good on Gangplank. Collector would have been the best because we just want as much gold as possible, but he wasn't able to finish that one off. Ezreal's got it though, right? Okay. Not the worst thing in the world. So we have 8 out of 10 cash out, so that's pretty good. There's a 1-cost bow right in front of us. We'll take that. Sometimes, even though bow's good, if it's on a 1-cost unit, a lot of people end up skipping it because they really need the money. We end up leveling up here. It didn't really cost us much. We're making econ anyways, so I think that's fine. You could slam a Rage Blade here. I would be okay with that. I will say, though, whenever you're playing 1st or 8th, it's a lot different from playing the Duelist for top 4, so I like greeting the items. But if you build something here, like I feel like that's fine. If you play a little more flexibly, building something is probably the play here. But I'm a very greedy player whenever I try for Kaisa, so we're just going to go for that and try to hit a Shiv off this Krugs. We get our payout on 2-6. You just take it, because again, we're only doing 1 cash out. Oh, if only we had Duelist Augment, we could just slam Duelist here with like Locket. We have 2-star Fiora, 2-star GP. We have like Kale and Vayne, so we have 4 duelists already, but I'm a degen just doing Kaisa. This person we're facing, he's actually decently strong, it looks like. He's got a bunch of brawlers, he's got laser core. He's got 1 item. Yeah, sure, just slam the chain on Fiora. Maybe it helps us kill 1 more unit. Are we able to? Oh no, the targeting was awful, so... Wait, no, Vayne actually smurfed. Very nice. Okay, that saved us a lot of health. That's actually really clutch. This next shop here, we get a Ashe 2 and a Kaisa. Very, very, very nice. So we'll put those in. We don't really care about these other guys. Well, you keep the... I guess we have a 2-star Ashe. You don't want to be too weak, in which case you can't beat this, but... Recons are really good because there are a lot of single target damage. We end up getting a rod and chain, so oh my god, this would have been the dream duelist items, but we don't get it. It's okay. Honestly, even with this Ezreal augment, you could probably just have gone duelist and just got 4th anyways. It probably would have been fine. Lockets you definitely don't want to slam in the Kaisa comp because you only have like 3 tanks in the front line, so it doesn't really help you that much at all. Who are we facing here? We're facing an underground player, so we should win this one. Oh, it's a Rising Spellforce guy. And let's do our 3-2 roll down. You'll see here that like it's probably one of the most tragic roll downs ever. We even get a pre-level, so we get great leveling odds on the first roll. For augments, we get Recon Crest, but honestly, Recon Crest is kind of bad. I should have taken Phony Frontline. This was before I knew like the good builds, but let's do a roll down quickly. It was arguable to not roll down and wait till 3-5 and roll down at level 7. I don't mind that, but getting Kaisa 2 at this point in the game is so insane. We do get Rammus 2 with the Bramble, so that's pretty good, but not really any Kaisas, and like this Recon Augment's kind of wasted because, yeah, we get to drop Ashe, but unless you have something good to put in, it's not really that great. I'm going to roll a little more. I probably didn't need to, but like I really just wanted Kaisa 2 and we don't end up getting it. So I guess maybe this isn't that low roll. This is pretty good, right? We have a lot of upgrades, but Kaisa is the only unit we care about. Vayne 2 is the same as Vayne 1. We have a freaking Lux 1 in or something like that. But we rolled like a lot of gold. And we didn't like hit a Cho'Gath or something. I don't know. Normally, whenever I do this, I always have Kaisa 2 at this point, but I could have rolled to 0, and normally I do, but I was a little slow on the roll down. So maybe this isn't a low roll game, it's just my fault for not rolling down faster. Like, this guy has Jax 2 with scope weapons, right? He had 1 bow, he built a Rage Blade with it, and then he just gets scope weapons. That's why I, like, felt really bad this game, because everyone else was, like, getting super lucky, and that happens sometimes. One thing that players fail to adapt, by the way, I think I rolled down because I have Kaisa pair, and also, like, I could hit a Cho'Gath, and I want to replace this Lux. But one thing people forget to realize is that just because you build a comp a certain way doesn't mean it's automatically going to be good, because sometimes it gets outscaled because everyone else is super high rolling. Like that Jax guy, he just gets perfect augment, and he has Jax 2 without rolling too much. And here we rolled to 0, what we should have done the turn before. Or sorry, we rolled to 10, and then still no Kaisa 2. And like we got a Cho'Gath 1, but we don't really have that many copies of that many things. I just feel like all the other games I played Kaisa, I was just in much better spots because either I have like Static Shiv at this point, or I have like Kaisa 2. One of the two. We're last pick on Carousel, so somehow we get a tier. I don't want to trash talk this build too much because obviously I do like it. It's my favorite comp, but because you need Static Shiv and Bow and Tier are the most contested items right now, it can be really frustrating to play if you just don't get the Static Shiv. By the way, I reconned my Cho'Gath. I find Recon Cho'Gath does a lot of damage, but sometimes he's trolls because he runs too far away. Maybe Recon Rammus is the play. I think Recon Rammus, he just always jumps to backline whenever I put it on him. I don't know if it's because it's a bug or if it's because it affects his range or something like that, but he always gets the best jumps whenever he has Recon Spat. The one issue is that Rammus 2 is my main tank, so I don't want him jumping away from people and having the enemy walk into my team. So if I had 2-star Cho'Gath and 2-star Rammus, I'd definitely put the Recon Spat on Rammus, but since I only have 1-star Cho'Gath at this point, I don't want my Rammus 2 to troll my team. Who's this guy? He is Sure Shot, and he's got Senna 2, Sivir 2. Okay, this guy's decently strong. We are stronger, but He's 50 gold, we're 30 gold. He's probably pre-leveled a bunch also, so his board's comparably pretty strong considering he didn't have to roll for this. So I'd actually like to be in his spot right now, even though we beat him. Nothing in this shop here, so let's skip ahead. We get a ton of items here and orbs, so we probably didn't get these at previous camps or something. So we get a bow tier Negatron. Okay, so there's the static shiv. That's what we were looking for. Very nice there. Do we get the Kaisa 2? So here it's like, do you want to wait one turn before you roll down, or do you roll down right away? In hindsight, I think waiting until 4-2 to level up and roll down is better. The reason why is because we're high health this game. So all the other games we were super low health. And when you're super low health, like, yeah, obviously you want to roll earlier. But since we had the high health this game, I feel like I made a mistake by rolling before 4-2. But do we slam other items here? So we're getting the Ezreal item value right now. Do we want to build like an Archangel's, Hextech, Gunblade, Spear of Shojin? All those builds are really good, right? Or they're all usable. Like, another option is to greed out for the Giant Slayer. But greed is in the word. That's tough. We really want tank items, to be honest with you. But this situation's pretty tough. What would you guys build here? Because I'm actually not 100% sure. And also, would you greed as well? That's another option. You could also build nothing. Threat level maximum, not great. Ancient Archives, garbage because we don't care about traits. Thrill the Hunt, it's okay. It's okay. I think it's a reroll though. We end up getting Jeweled Lotus and 2 Cybernetics, which are garbage. So, yeah, Jeweled Lotus is a tragedy because we already have Recon Crown. We don't need Jeweled Lotus. We're getting too much crit. I wonder if it's Drop Vein or something. That one's very tough, but let's roll down a bit. We finally get Kaisa 2 on 4-2. Holy cow, that took our entire econ. But like, I guess the tankiness helps. Like, we do want tanks. I end up building the Gunblade. Or Archangels? No, I build Archangels. I wonder why I did that. Because with Gunblade, we could save the tier for Protector's Vow or Redemption. So looking back, I think Gunblade is better. Also, we don't have any healing yet. And Gunblade gives like the slight healing that we need. It also has the added benefit of healing our tanks. It kind of depends. Like, what's this sword going to do for us? The only thing I could think of that it builds for us is Zeke's Herald, which I don't think is going to be that great, you know? We already have Rage Blade, so we don't really need the attack speed. So what is this sword building? So building the Archangels, I think definitely is a mistake. Just because like there's nothing to do with this component. On this next carousel, we're probably going to complete the Negatron Cloak item first, but we could easily finish the tier item later on. Who are we facing? Oh, this Ram is just jumping into our team. I see how it is. Kaisa is able to clean, not really. Okay, so we take a hit there. We're not high health anymore. We're 65. It's like okay health. It looks like everyone in this game just took a lot of damage except for one guy who's at 100 health. So on this carousel, let's just grab. None of these complete the cloak item. I guess it's an Ionic Spark. It's not horrible. It's not good, but it's not horrible. What do we do here? We're one off Rammus 2 for our second Rammus. Do we roll for that? How aggressive do we want to be? This is a very tough game because we are getting contested a little bit on the threats. This other guy's going for Vayne, so we can't reliably get Vayne either. So this is a bit of a weird situation. We also have this extra slot on our team because we're not running Ashe. So maybe Zac is a great option to have, Zac 2, but we don't have Zac pair. I think it's definitely Slam Ionic on this Cho'Gath or Rammus. Probably Rammus because Cho'Gath's going to dash to the back because he has Recon trait. So you don't get that much value from Ionic Spark. So it's probably just Ionic Rammus and then call it a day. Definitely should slam the item though, because this game we're definitely not playing for first place because look at our bench. We have no Kaisas. So the chance of hitting Kaisa 3 is super low right now. But again, that's just the difference between this comp and other ones. Like, you can stabilize with a Kaisa 2 and just do the whole top 4 mode again. But you have the option of high rolling into a first if you get Kaisa 3. This next guy we're facing is oh my god. That is best in slot Yuumi. He's got Jeweled Lotus. He's got blue buff. Hat, and Giant Slayer. I don't know what else you want for Yuumi. And the zoomies makes his makes his other guys just like go ham. That is a very nice Yuumi. See what I mean though? Like some games, the Yuumi players are stuck Yuumi 2 the whole game. But this game, like the Jax guy stabilized really early. The Yuumi guy hits Yuumi 3 during stage 4. So it's very scary. And then we also don't have Kai'Sa 3. So in this game, maybe, and look at our items, it's all offensive items. That's really unfortunate. We get a Declaw there, which is pretty nice. So we'll just build that and then slam it on Cho'Gath. He's going to end up dealing a ton of damage now because he scales up magic resistance. We should just roll here. The reason why is because we have a lot of extra slots on our team. And as much as I want to slow roll for Kai'Sa 3, that's just not in the cards this game. So we're just going to fill up our bench or fill up our board with like double Rammus, double Cho'Gath, and pray from there. I should have stacked all the items on one Cho'Gath. Maybe Hextech Gunblade would have been better also, because it'll just make him do more damage. My thought process when I slammed the items, of course, like in game, I just wanted to build the items before the fight started, so it kind of rushed me a little bit. But I forgot that Dragon Claw gives damage to Cho'Gath, so it would just make the recon crits even harder because we have permacrit on all abilities and stuff. So just stacking one Cho'Gath here was definitely the play. I do wonder how much health it potentially costed me by not building the items correctly. Because potentially, maybe we knock out other people a little faster and they take more damage, and that could affect our placements for sure. We get stunned by Sejuani here. One thing to do when you scout and position, also the Jax player who hit Jax early and the scope weapons, he hits Jax 3. And I'm nowhere near Kai'Sa 3, so that's a little unlucky in my opinion. But yeah, one thing you have to look out for positioning-wise is just dodging all the CC. So we definitely should have been on the other side. And sometimes it's like you can't always guess correctly on the scouting because one, people swap. Two, you have more than one potential opponent. So maybe I was positioned for the other guy. But scout as much as you can in order to just hopefully dodge all the Sejuanis. That's a big one to look out for. Another one is Fiddlesticks. Another one is if you have your own Sejuani, you could play Echo to kind of counter it. And Blitz Hooks, Zephyrs, Shrouds, all those things. Yuumi, like look at this. I'm in the worst spot against this Yuumi. She's going to just one-tap my Kai'Sa at the start of the fight. It actually went for Vayne, but I've been in this same exact positioning before where the Yuumi just targets my Kai'Sa right away and I just auto die. So I am actually really lucky this fight. I save maybe like 6 HP just because the targeting was pretty lucky for me. This carousel is pretty good. We just want a tank item, so we get the Vow and call it a day. Another difference between this game and all the other games we played is we're really feeling the pain of not having Giant Slayer. I don't know if you guys have noticed it yet, but all these mascot players with 3-star reroll, all these brawler players, they're really hard to kind of deal with, right? Because we just don't have the Giant Slayer. We have one now. Wait, I didn't get the Vow? Okay, I guess I'm just trolling because it's 100% Protector's Vow. I also should be giving my Ezreal item to my tanks, not my DPSers. I put the Giant Slayer on my Cho'Gath. I don't know if the Cho'Gussie hits that hard, but yeah, it's just Vow. Wait, this guy is going Kai'Sa also? Oh, because he's going the Ezreal. He's Rising Spell Force, Blue Buff, Blue Battery. This is what I'm talking about. Some games, people just super high roll, and there's not much you could do about it. But we got a 4th with Kai'Sa 2. I would say that's not bad. We're actually one off the Kai'Sa 3. That is most unfortunate. And there's this Cho'Gath in our shop. I don't even know what's worth it to run. It's probably better to run this level 1 Cho'Gath over this Kai'Sa. This game was actually just so close but so far. At least we dodged the Sejuani. But again, I wonder if we knock out other people a little faster, if we put the Cho'Gath items correctly. I wonder what happens if we maybe greeted for a Giant Slayer. Maybe we could have done that differently. Maybe we could have waited a little longer before we started rolling because we were higher health earlier. I think we should have switched up the playstyle a little bit and not just blindly follow like the same patterns we have been. Let's head on over into the GM game though. So as I said, this comp really helped me get to GM because I gained 200 LP from it, and you just need 200 LP for Grandmasters. But I think I played this specific game after I got GM. So yeah, we just have this Fiora 2 for some reason. Obviously, that's really good. Didn't we get a free Fiora 2 in the Duelist video compilation. I think that's pretty funny. By the way, if you haven't checked that out yet, you probably should, because that comp is the complete opposite of this comp, but having both playstyles is really good, obviously. So we're going to try to go for Duelists at the start because, I mean, we have them. We get a belt off the last camp, and the reason why we're not going Duelist this game, 1, the items, 2, augments are a thing, so we're just going to do Raid or Spoil again because it's just so freaking good for anything. It doesn't have to be for the Kaisa comp. It's really good in just any comp because you just get so much econ from it, so you can just use it and play Flex or play it with Underground and Flex into literally anything. But, I mean, they just keep giving it to me. Also, I don't have the Duelist items. I don't have any locket components. Warmog's pretty useless on it. If you think about it, Warmog's is pretty much a locket, except it only goes on 1 person instead of 5 people. But it gives approximately the same amount of health, right? Or like shielding, whatever you want to call it. Wow, that Yuumi actually 1-tappied our backline, but we're able to get the win anyways. But yeah, you could play Raider Spoils just to win streak. And I think that was my thought process starting off here. I don't think I just blindly rushed into a Kaisa game. Because as much as I like Kaisa, it's just like, you don't need to force it. But we get the Underground, so I'm just going to drop that on, probably Vi's the best holder for it. I end up putting it on Fiora. Fiora is 2-starred, and we generally do like putting items on our 2-star units, but look at this. Our Vi just melts right away. Obviously, the positioning could be changed as well, but Fiora heals herself based on a flat amount, and if you add Warmogs to her, it doesn't help her that much. So I think Vi just might have a better usage of it, because I could potentially play Brawlers at level 5, and then you get more like magnification of the stats from that. But it probably doesn't matter that much. It probably doesn't change that much of the game. I've noticed that a lot in TFT though. Like, I don't know how much decisions actually matter because, yeah, you can make different choices. But I remember watching this interaction in set 1 when the rank 1 player and rank 2 player both looked at the same game and they made different decisions on every single turn. Can you believe that? The rank 1 and 2 player, they disagreed every single turn of a TFT game. And it just goes to show that you can climb even though you don't make the best plays, because you can develop your own play style. And I just couldn't believe that they didn't agree on one turn. We're going to go for this tier, by the way. But you know how in those job interviews, people are like, oh, what moment in your life changed your perspective on XYZ? For me, it was in TFT, it was stick to your own play style, because like clearly there are many different ways to play that work. And just based off of that one experience that I saw, I was like, holy cow, these two people that are extremely good at the game just disagreed on every play. And it was just completely nuts. And then it goes to show, like, 2 lines of play, like, how much does it actually change? Obviously, they're both good lines of play because they're the 2 top players. But if you do one thing versus the other, like, there definitely is a play that is for sure better. But does it really change the outcome of the game that much? Obviously, over time it does. And if it's just you and me making those decisions, like, we probably don't make one of those plays that kind of have the same win rate or whatever, or same average placement. But the fact that some things such as like items, top players can disagree on, like such as you start the game with 3 items, right? People disagree on which items to slam at 2-1. And it's just like, it feels like that's such a big decision that it should have a big difference. And like, there should be an agreed upon, like, yeah, this is for sure the best at that stage in the game. But clearly that's just not the case, which is really interesting to me. We lose our win streak here, a little unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. Maybe if we positioned our Fiora on the right side, we may have won. I'm not too sure. But we get a nice shop here. We get Ezreal 2. And we have to wait one more turn for our cash out. That's a little unfortunate. We won too many rounds this game. Luckily, we don't need to tailor our champion augment because we already have a champion augment. But had it been like a gold, silver, or prismatic augment, you would definitely want to sacrifice the next turn in order to tailor your augment. So here is when I'm like, all right, we see the Kaisa there. Should I go for it? Like, I really wasn't aiming to play it, but Warmogs is really good. We have some rods, one for maybe an Ionic Spark. Maybe we even hat her, you know, or we build a Spear of Shojin. No bows is definitely rough, so we are hurting a little bit in that sense. But again, we could just use Kaisa as an item holder and then play an ability power comp. That's very viable to do as well. But we're probably getting rocked this turn. This guy is playing, it looks like a lot of brawlers, so we just aren't able to get through that front line. It's such a strong comp in stage 3, just having like 4 brawlers, I think he had. Because it's just way too much health if you don't have like a Giant Slayer. Holy, we actually win. Dude, our Fiora actually cranked it. We slammed Gunblade on her because I'm like, whatever. We don't have a bow anyway, so we could just slam the Gunblade. But we get a new shop. Throw the Hunt, Prep, or First Aid Kit. If we're re-rolling, it's Prep. I don't know if we should have taken that, though. I'm going to be honest. From this angle, I think you just go AP and just go for First Aid Kit. Because we have a Hextech Gunblade already. And then, like, Annie heals. Alistair heals. Echo has a shield. It's, like, pretty solid line, I'd say. I think I forced this way too hard this game. I just have the Kai'Sa bug, you know? I just have to play Kai'Sa. I'm actually down bad for her. But we are going to roll down right now. I think we're going to try to do at least the same thing as the other preparation game. Have 1 on board, 1 on bench. So we should be rolling down to 0. I don't know why I'm... Do the items later, bro. Keep rolling, keep rolling. Oh no, I'm way too slow on this roll down. It's okay, it happens. Like, clearly I'm not practiced enough on the comp. But I'm also a boomer, so I don't roll very effectively. So I think save tier for the static shiv because we used 1 of the rods already. We definitely had to build something. Hextech Gunblade probably is a very good option because we had 2 swords and 2 rods. Actually, we only had 1 sword at the time, but having 2 rods, you need to kill 1 of the rods, right? The good part about Raider Spoils is that most of the items are really good on Kai'Sa that she can get, so it's not that big of a deal just to not have perfect items on her in the early game. It's one of the advantages of this comp because there are so many... I trolled there. I think I meant to put the Ezreal item on Cho'Gath there, but I just messed up. But there's so many units that need items. You want Kai'Sa and 2 tanks that if you ever get too many tank items, you could put your Ezreal on your Kai'Sa. If you get too many damage items, you could put your Ezreal either on Cho'Gath or on Rammus. And like getting Blitzcrank hook is obviously really big. And it's just a great way to fill out your team when you have a lot of 3 stars. Because obviously 3 stars with items mean a lot. On this carousel, it's obviously bow, but I doubt we're going to get it. So if we can't get that, we want to start building tank items. Because we already have like a couple of our damage items lined up because we have a tier, sword, and rod. So just Negatron is fine. This next shop is insane. We get to start stacking our Vayne and Kai'Sa. And we'll just jam the Ionic Spark here. Like, this game isn't looking the best because we don't have bows. So getting first place without best in slot items, I'm not saying it's impossible, but Ionic's just such a good item, right? It gives Cho'Gath magic resistance and he deals magic damage, so he reduces the MR for himself. And like Kai'Sa, you just need to make sure she's focusing someone near Cho'Gath. So we're doing that here, and like tier builds a lot of things. Like if we get the static shiv, we'll probably still slam it, but tier builds, it's just so good in this comp. Let's think about it for a moment. Static shiv, Protector's Vow, Redemption, Archangels, Shojin, Hand of Justice. Is there any item that's bad? I'm trying to think about that now. Did we go through all the items? I listed out 6. I counted 6 on my fingers. Okay, Negatron's the only one that builds a bad item. Even then, it's not even bad. You just don't end up building chalices because you just need too many items for the rest of your team. Because if you really think about it, generally you get around like 12 components after all the neutral rounds or whatever. And then that builds 6 items. So you want 3 on Kai'Sa, 3 on a tank. But in this build, you want 3 on Kai'Sa, 3 on 2 tanks. And then if you get even more items, you could put them on Vayne. So you don't really have room for support items, right? So if you magically get like a ton of items, it's super, super good for this build. That can either be through like item grab bag. Maybe you get an insane cash out from Heist or something. Maybe they bring back the triple item dragons from last set. Maybe Living Forge gives you a ton of items for your units as well. There are a lot of different things, but just having a ton of items is really, really good. We're hard stuck on this Kai'Sa 1, but it's not a big deal because we're getting prep stacks. Just make sure on the neutral rounds you always get like an extra prep stack if you can. But holy cow, we get the bow there. That's really nice. Another tier, not really necessary. Let's see what's in this orb. Negatron. Okay, not bad. Let's do the roll down first, though, and then we'll worry about items after that. We'll build the Vayne, keep going. I think around Kai'Sa 2, I'll stabilize and then kind of chill for a bit. Okay, I'm rolling too much right now. Rammus 2. I guess I could have used the Rammus 2. You know what? rolling down to maybe like even 20 would have been fine now that I look back. What I mean by that is like if we didn't hit Rammus 2, I'd definitely just roll down to 20 because we need to fill out 7 slots on our team, 4 recons and 3 tanks. We had like a couple 1-star tanks or 2 1-star tanks out there. So yeah, we needed to fill those up. We could sell this Nyla and both the Ezreals. We don't really care that much about them. I guess I'm holding this Ezreal because he has prep stacks because we finished our 2-star Ezreal early before. And then on this augment, we get Portable Forge, Celestial Blessing, and Scope Weapons. It might be Forge. Forge has really good tank items, and Visage would be insane since we have a Warmogs already. Celestial Blessing, again, you don't really need that much healing on this team. So I think it's Forge. Reroll is a little risky. I feel like Forge is good enough to take. We get insane choices here. Zhonya's Paradox is one of the best items for Kai'Sa. But since we have so many damage items or potential damage items on our bench, I feel like just grabbing the tank item is just much more value here. Just drop it on the Cho'Gath, call it a day. I believe that item gives health and magic resistance and the health regen. So it's really good on Cho'Gath because Cho'Gath loves magic resist. So we get a Black Cleaver on Yuumi. Come on, man. 3-star Yuumi. Just snipes our guy just like that easy. And our Cho'Gath misses the Yuumi twice. I guess this guy beats us. You know, it happens. It's it's just like just Yuumi things, but it's all good. Hopefully I pick up this gold so we make interest. And we definitely lose this one. It's just a matter of time when she casts. I guess the gold automatically picks up. We are 66 life right now, so we're pretty healthy. That's just because we won a lot of the stage 3 fights, I believe, but we're rolling down. We want to upgrade this 3rd tank that we have on our board. We get a Rammus 2, so that's perfect. And I guess just sit again at 40. All right, onto this next fight. We're facing a Future Sight guy. Who did he Zephyr? He Zephyrs our Ezreal, so it was a 50-50, but I guess he missed our Kai'Sa. Where did our Kai'Sa go? Oh, she jumped into the enemy team. Very nice. There's this scary Zed. Okay, I guess we lose this one. He was just stronger than us in general, so that's fair. This Zed is actually so scary with Gadgettine, Giant Slayer, and just like that. This guy's team is really weird, but it's working for him. On this carousel, I'm down to either get Giant Slayer or finish a tank item. So Bow got taken, so we can't get that. Maybe we go for Belt, build a Redemption. Maybe Dragon Claw is decent as well, but probably Redemption's the best. I also know I was trash talking a lot of the aura items in this build before, but honestly, since we don't have Rage Blade and no attack speed buff to Kai'Sa, building a Zeke's probably would be pretty good. There's Cho'Gath, very nice. Here is when you want to scout the enemy team and see whether you need the magic resistance from Cho'Gath or the armor from Rammus. I had time to do a quick scout, but I'm just not fast enough. Luckily, we face an ability power guy, so we had the Cho'Gath out, so that's a little lucky on my part. But whenever you have this like choice of whether putting in Rammus or Cho'Gath, always be scouting because you want to make sure you have the right guy in based on what team you're facing. Oh God, that Talia had the God ult. It's okay, we lose this round, but this guy spiked really hard. So there are always different spikes in TFT. You're going to hit your 2-star Kai'Sa before they hit their 2-star Talia in most cases. It doesn't happen all the time, but on average, that's what should happen, right? Because one is harder to get than the other. But by the time you get 3-star Kai'Sa, you should outscale them unless they get some insane legendaries. We don't really care about Vayne, so we're just going to keep rolling in Skipper. Arguably, I probably didn't need to roll here because it's a round right before the PvE round. But we are 34 health, so we're like a little low. This one's really debatable. We were also really close on the Cho'Gath, so we do end up finding it, but I feel like if you didn't roll here, it would not have been the end of the world. You just take this one last round, and maybe you lose this one. Let's say worst case, you're like 20 health. Most likely you'll be at around maybe, let's say 25 or something like that. It's definitely still a playable game, and then you roll it down all the way to 0 on 5-1, but you have like maybe 8 more gold than I'd have now. So that's like 4 more rolls potentially, and then that could be the difference between Kai'Sa 3, Cho'Gath 3, and Rammus 3. That's actually a really interesting decision point because we're so close to all the 3 stars on the last turn. That's the point where it's really important to scout who you're facing to see if you need to power spike like that in order to beat them. Because if we were to beat them anyways, or if we took a small loss, then like rolling there is definitely a mistake. So there are a lot of times where it's no set rule. It really depends on what happens after you scout. And since we didn't scout, like it's just bad TFT. We should just be scouting. Let's grab, this one's tough. We want a third Kaisa item. QSS might not be bad. I think it's actually QSS plus Zeke's, but we end up going for the tier. I think we're going to go for Chalice and Zeke's. I know we get the Ezreal item, so we don't have to build the third item on Kaisa, but QSS is pretty good, right? Yeah, I don't think Chalice does that much on her, but it's hard because we want the item to guarantee go on Kaisa. So I don't want to put units next to Ezreal. Someone did some testing on whether it prioritizes items or not, or item holders. Let's say we put 2 units next to Ezreal. I think it generally does, but I didn't want to test it out this game, so we should probably find that out later. If anyone can confirm in chat, I have tested it before. I've seen other people test it, but you never know when they changed it, because when I saw it tested, it was on PBE, so I don't know if they changed that priority or not. It could also just be a coincidence, low sample size, that it just happened to prioritize every time. But if someone knows for sure, do let everyone else know, either in the Discord or in the comments down here. We hit the Rammus 3, and honestly here it's just smooth sailing again. It's like the first game we played and like I think 2 games ago where you just hit everything and it's just so beautiful after that. But just imagine if instead of these 2 support items, we had 3 items on Rammus, 3 tank items. That would be like the super high roll. But I'll take this game any day of the week. If I'm able to hit Kaisa 3, Cho'Gath 3, Rammus 3 on stage 5, I take that every time. This is a dream come true for me. Now, I will say the time I played these games was before Kaisa became really popular, but it was also right after that guy made that Reddit post. So you would expect this comp to be even more popular when I played this. But for some reason, less people played this last week when the person made the post versus this week when like no one made a post about it, you know? Because I've noticed the past 2 or 3 days when I play Kaisa, I am definitely contested. And I'm just like so confused because I used to never be contested in these games. I think we were like half contested one game, but you really don't want to be contested when you play Kaisa because her difference power level wise between 3 and 2 is just enormous. Whereas if you're playing like Duelists and someone's contesting you there, you don't really care because like Vayne 2, Vayne 3, is there really that much of a difference? There's like some, but it's not that big. Let's go for the Chalice here. Again, I don't really think I need the third item because I have the Ezreal stuff. But if there was a tank item here, I'd probably take that. I wonder what the AP is actually doing. It's probably pretty good because we have 2 non-like damage items on her. So this gives her a little more umph because Hextech Gunblade's obviously a healing item. Static Shiv is just like an attack speed item. So it probably does do quite a bit for her. By the way, right now we're just saving our gold. We're going to level up to 8, play 3 Star Guardian. That's like the only thing that buffs up our team. You generally just stay level 7 until you hit everything. And because we hit everything, we're just going to wait and slowly level up. Next shop here, we have a Nyla. We're 38 lives, so we don't need to like level up right now. And we also don't have the other Star Guardian, so we could kind of chill. But if you leveled up here just to knock people out, I wouldn't really spank you for it. Unless you are subscribed to my OnlyFans, onlyfans.com/BunnyMuffins LOL. I still find it hilarious that BunnyMuffins was taken already. I don't know if it's me making it like a super long time ago, because the thing is like, I never used OnlyFans until I created that account there. So who would take that name? I don't know. I wonder if it's a bot. It checks like all the, maybe it checks YouTube, Twitter, Instagram to see if anyone has a lot of followers and then just like copies the name and makes an account on these places. Or if it's like someone actually has that name. I have noticed there are other BunnyMuffins on like YouTube and Twitch that aren't related to me at all. And I'm like, I don't know. Did other people, is it not an original name? Someone bought the domain bunnymuffins.com. By the way, Giant Slayer, you gotta scout for this. So people have 3 stars, so it's for sure Giant Slayer. It's better than the Ornn item because it's just so much damage, right? And then you could Ornn item like maybe someone else. What was I saying? The website, bunnymuffins.com, it's not mine. It's someone trying to sell it for like $6,000 or $7,000. It's actually hilarious because the only person in the world who would buy that domain is me, and there's no way I'm dishing over $7,000 to him. I wouldn't even dish over 100 to him. I like the bunnymuffins.lol a lot more than the .com. And Yeah, like the reason why is because I don't know, LOL's kind of cool, right? No one really uses that domain name. And when I was making the site, it was taken by someone else who didn't end up building the site, and then they let it expire or whatever. There's a lot of things called like domain camping. People just buy domains hoping that other people buy it for a higher price than the like upkeep cost for it. It's kind of cringe, you know? It's kind of like copyright sitting, except it's with domain names, and there's not really too much you could do about it, but I guess that's just part of life. It's one of the cons of like it's essentially scalping, right? But is scalping a good thing? Is scalping a bad thing? I'm gonna backline all my guys right now because he's running like potentially he could hack over stuff, right? I guess he isn't running hacker right now, but just having my Rammus be the focus because he's armor versus a duelist comp, I think that's good enough, right? And we're just able to kind of... No, we actually lose to him. Dude, there's no way we lose to Duelist, right? Duelist never wins, as we saw in our previous video. I guess we're about to level up. I don't know what we put in, though. I guess Urgot or something. Okay, yeah, just sell the Ezreal, drop in the Star Guardians, actually. I forgot we didn't have those yet. We roll down, find an Echo. We definitely want to play that over Talia, because Echo's just a better unit for tankiness. I guess if he's not running hacker, we don't need to backline everyone. I think I thought he was, and that's... Oh, no, he is running hacker, but he put in a Yasuo, so that's interesting to say the least. Is it a Star Guardian diff? Because I think we win this fight. His Yasuo even gets like a triple knockup on my team, which is insane, right? What was different from this fight between the fight before? Anyone know? Because I'm actually really curious, because we got demolished in the first fight, but now we beat him pretty handedly. Let's get a Vow here. If you have a 3-star tank, Vow is always better than Warmogs because Warmogs just gives health. And since you're 3-starred, you already have a lot of health, so it's not as effective. Whereas Vow, it just like gives you a % health shield and it increases your resistances for your bigger health pool. So it's just a lot nicer. But yeah, scalping's kind of like rent-seeking behavior. Is that good? Is that bad? Apparently, even talking about real estate is controversial nowadays, but like they'd collect rent, right? Real estate people or like landowners. But I feel like landowners do provide value to society because they have to like upkeep the place and whatnot. But domain campers, there's like no... It's literally just scalping and like rent-seeking, right? Or it's rent-seeking behavior. I don't think they provide any value to society. Whereas a landlord, you could argue like, oh, they like make the place nice, or they like do all the maintenance that no one else knows how to do or wants to do, or hires someone else to do it. But like domain campers, they literally just like stifle people who want to start businesses, you know, because let's say you really wanted a domain name to start your business and then they just take it, like you just can't have it. So I feel like that's net negative loss to society, but what are you going to do? The only way to counter domain campers is to make the upkeep cost for registering a website higher, but I don't think that's great either because then it's, again, harder to start a business because you need more upfront costs, right? Granted, it's not that much money, but it's like it adds up over time. So that's not a good solution to stop domain campers. So what is? Honestly, I don't really know. But we're able to get the dub here, and that is Kai'Sa for you. I hope you guys enjoyed these 5 games. Obviously, like it's 1st or 8th, so just play with that in mind. Opposite of the Duelist comp, but hopefully you guys are not contested in your games, and I do really hope to see you guys in a future video. Let me know what other comps you want to check out next too.